Bonjour! Hi there, and welcome back to Online Teaching with Jay. I'd like to start today with a quote that my partner shared with me on what it feels like to be in a lockdown during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's been making the rounds on social media, and it goes like this. You're not working from home. You're at your home during a crisis, trying to work. I think it's so important to keep this in mind at the moment, as a reminder of the situation we are in, but also as an acknowledgement that what we are doing right now is not a choice, and as a way to keep in mind that there is only so much we can control. In the last episode of the 2020 experience, I talked to you about the different paths nations around the world were following for online teaching. Today, I'd like to address the experience as my partner and I have lived it with our children at home as students and with students online. So let's first take a look at what a schedule looks like for two teaching adults, a 6-year-old in first grade, and a 2-year-old in nursery. Here we go. On March 12th, Turkey decided to shut schools for 2 weeks, giving the following week as an early spring break and the next week as a week of online education. And little did we know this would then be extended until April 30th. So let's look at what the schedule looks like when we're all at home together. First, we'll add my hours. My school decided to do synchronous learning, mirroring what we do at school online, but with a later start to the day. Now, I'm in a leadership position, so all of this means I have reduced hours. Let's add my partner's schedule. Her school decided to do a blend of synchronous and asynchronous learning, with 3 hours for every level that she taught, and the rest of the time being dedicated to independent student learning at home or other classes. Let's add to that 2 level meetings and 2 parent slot times. Now we'll add Dee's online schedule, and this is where things got complicated. This schedule was modeled off the Ministry of Education's online platform, with a little bit of time for each subject throughout the day. Quickly became clear that this was not going to work for us, so we decided to squash all of Dylan's learnings into the mornings, get his activities out of the way so he could spend the afternoon just being a child and working on his next Lego invention. Finally, we'll add ours schedule, which mostly consisted of nap times, because after all, who wants a cranky 2-year-old at home when you're trying to manage everything? On Thursday, his nursery contacted us to offer a half an hour of activities online with his teacher and all of his friends from school, so we added that into the schedule. Let's talk about all the unscheduled tasks, like preparing food, breaking up fights between a 2 and a 6-year-old, checking on students through WhatsApp, dealing with tantrums, correcting student work, issuing ultimatums about finishing plates of food and sitting properly on chairs, prepping lessons plans for the next week, contacting colleagues, and did I mention breaking up fights between a 2 and a 6-year-old already? Now, for the week that followed, a couple of changes happened. First of all, my partner was able to rearrange some of her online classes so she wouldn't have early starts with sleepy teens. Second of all, Dee's school contacted us and let us know that he would have contact time with the teachers. So we scrapped all the rest and changed the schedule to make sure that what we had was way more manageable. Now, in order to create change at my school, we decided to get feedback from our community members. This goes along the lines of Strategy 10 of the 15 strategies for online learning when school is closed by the Global Online Academy, and I'll put the link to that article in the description below. We saw feedback after the first week from all community members, parents, teachers, and students, and I strongly urge all schools to do the same in order to understand how you can adapt your schedule to a more stress-free environment for everyone. Now that the feedback has been digested, we're going into week 3 of online education, and here are the 2 changes that have happened. The first is that class times have been reduced. 80-minute periods have become 60-minute periods. 40-minute periods are 30 minutes of teaching. The second is that there are 20-minute breaks between each class and 70 minutes for lunch. This may not be ideal in terms of relaying content to students, but what it does create is a much more manageable situation for students where they have way more time away from their screens. So what does all of this tell us? Well, widespread online teaching and learning is still in its early stages, and there are bound to be many more challenges and changes to distance learning around the world before the COVID-19 pandemic ends. There are a few big issues to address here. Number one, how can parents sustain the teaching effort at home while they're possibly either stressed about unemployment or busy trying to maintain their work from home responsibilities and possibly even take care of their own children? Two, what will the attrition rate for students look like as the lockdowns continue? Consider the difficulty of self-discipline if parents are busy or not at home at all, or the fact that you can just turn off your video on Zoom, blame it on poor internet connection, and read a book on your bed, play a video game, or go into the other room and watch TV. But third of all, and most importantly, will learning at this stage at all contribute to a student's GPA or any other kind of performance ranking? Or will governments recognize that this is an extraordinary situation and then just issue pass or fail for the semester of online learning? This last big dilemma further puts student motivation and buy-in into online learning at risk. My opinion, let's go back to this idea that we're not just teaching and learning from home. We're living during a crisis and trying to teach and learn from home. And if that's the case, maybe the best we can do at the moment is to provide students with some sense of normalcy and the stability of familiar faces in a pseudo-academic environment. Thanks again for joining me for another episode of Online Teaching with Jay, the 2020 experience. I would love to hear from you what your concerns are about online teaching in the comments below. As always, please stay safe, stay inside, wash your hands, practice social distancing, and I'll see you in another episode. Au revoir!